let's dive into the final 3 weeks of this season and identify for me, if you don't mind, coaches that you believe are coaching for their jobs right now, Albert.
Well, I would say Ron Rivera, but I think that one's over.
Okay.
So I think that, it would have taken and this isn't Ron's fault, but like a new owner is always going to want his own guys in there, right? Like, so, well, like I think that one's over. We have Washington. So we have Washington, Carolina,
Mm-hmm.
Chargers, and Panthers as the ones that are open right now.
You got the Raiders, too. You get the
Oh,
Raiders.
the Raiders. Yeah. Did I say one of them
It's
twice?
Carolina and Panthers. That's all good. Keep going. All
So
good.
the first time for me making that sort of
All
mistake.
good, brother. Don't worry.
So if I'm like kind of like going through it in my head, the coaches that would be coaching for their jobs over the next few weeks, and I do this by division in my head. I think a mutual parting is possible in Pittsburgh. Not likely, but I think it's possible in Pittsburgh. That everybody says this is a time to make a change. Maybe they try to get something from Mike, but I certainly think that would be one that if you're looking for your like curveball surprise, that could be it.
Wow.
Does Pete Carroll retire in Seattle? I don't think so, but I've heard a lot over the last few weeks in these circles, like the people who work in these circles and the coaching carousel circles, that would Dan Quinn be the successor in Seattle if Pete Carroll were to hang it up after this year? New England. And again, this sounds weird. Pittsburgh, New England, Seattle, that those would be where there would be changes. But New England, obviously, I think that one is it is hurtling towards some sort of mutual parting. I'm just trying to think of who would be up in the air. You know what the other ones would be? I think you have to look at the NFC South teams. Now, I think Arthur Smith makes it, but Tampa and New Orleans, whoever doesn't win that division, and it sounds funny saying that too, because if you're close to winning the division, maybe you shouldn't be in jeopardy. But I think Tampa and New Orleans are two where you could see changes if those teams don't win the division. So Todd Bowles if the Bucks don't win the division, Dennis Allen if the Saints don't win the division. So I think as you start to go through it and you talk about potential mutual partings, potential retirements, you can get yourself up into that 8 to 10 range pretty quickly as far as how many openings there are going to be out there.
How about Antonio Pierce? Is he coaching for his job? What do you think?
Yeah, I think that it sounds like this is going to be they're going to cast a pretty wide net, in Vegas, and that Mark Davis doesn't want to lock himself into anything right now.
Sure.
But I would say one thing that gives Antonio Pierce a chance, right or wrong, I think Mark Davis had some regret over not at least giving Rich Bisaccia another year. If you remember that year, everything they'd went through.
Oh, God.
Really, really difficult, right? Like, and it wasn't just the John Gruden emails. It was
Henry Ruggs.
it was the Henry Ruggs. It was Damon Arnett. It was all the stuff that was happening off the field there. And he was able to kind of unite the team and bring them together and get them in the playoffs. And, look, they went to the mat with the Bengals. The Bengals wound up in the Super Bowl. Like they were, 2-3 minutes away from beating the Bengals in Cincinnati. So, like, I think there was some regret on Davis's part over not at least like, hey, like maybe we can like run it back at least one more time with the group that we have. And so I think that would cause him, at least to consider Antonio Pierce as his next head coach. Not saying that it's going to happen, but if they look good over the next 3 weeks, I would say that could be on the table.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.